Today, we're looking at jobs that are going to see a significant decline in the next decade. If you are already working, about to enter the job market, or in school and wondering which career path to take, this is the video for you. A study in 2013 by two professors at Oxford University on the future of employment led to some rather interesting results. They conducted the study to estimate the probability of computerization for about 702 professions and its effect on the U.S. labor market. The findings showed that workers in the transportation industry, logistics, administrative, and labor in production occupations were the ones at most risk. The first on our list is driving. Self-driving cars might have sounded like things from a sci-fi movie some decades ago, but this is not the case anymore. Companies like Tesla and Audi have been making headway and technological improvements towards making vehicles fully autonomous. There are 5 levels of automation. The first level introduces driver assistance, such as making sure the vehicle is always in the right lane, as well as stops when traffic stops. Level 2 automation assists with controlling speed and steering, although the driver must be behind the steering wheel. Level 3 builds on this and allows vehicles to drive themselves under ideal conditions, albeit with the driver behind the wheel. The driver should be ready to take over when the conditions are not ideal for the vehicle to drive itself. This technology gained prominence in 2020 and has already been implemented in some Tesla models. Level 4 is considered high automation, where the vehicle is independent of the driver. The driver only needs to enter the destination and can attend to other things while the vehicle drives. Current estimations put the viability of this technology in the year 2025, but with the current rate of technology development, it might arrive earlier. Level 5 refers to fully autonomous cars, within which the individual is purely a passenger and will not need a driving license. This might become a reality in 2030 or earlier. Cars are not the only vehicle being automated. Ships and airplanes are receiving similar attention. Statistics show that from 1950 to 2019, 82% of aircraft accidents are due to human error, with only 10% being due to external factors like the weather, although 8% is due to hijacking. We can still agree that humans are involved, can't we? Next up is retail. Have you heard of Amazon Go? This is a shop running without any retail staff. The process is fully automated. The shop incorporates technologies which detect when items are taken from the shelf by the consumer and then keeps track of them on a virtual cart. Once the consumer walks out of the shop, it is registered as a checkout and the consumer is billed, then issued a receipt through the company's app. This might sound very futuristic, but what if we told you that Amazon already has about 25 shops like these in the US alone? What if we told you there is already one opened in the UK, and the tech giant plans to open at least 30 more in the UK? The interesting thing is that Amazon isn't the first or only company using this technology. There is a restaurant in Iran called RoboChef, where customers order through smart tables and are served by robots. There is even a place in China called Fudom, where the robots lead the customers to their seats, prepare the food, and serve them. This means that it's not only the cashiers, but waiters and even cooks are all not going to be spared from automation. Scary, right? Next up, we have translators. In 2018, Ofersho Shan, CEO of 1 Hour Translation, opined that in 1 to 3 years, neural machine technology, or NMT, translators will carry out more than 50% of the work handled by human translators. Translators typically change the language of a document, write-up, or even audio-visual content to one that is preferred by the consumer. This is something artificial intelligence is currently capable of doing. Despite these advancements made by technology, there are arguments that a translation by algorithm or computer may not be as good as human translators. Although this might be true, translators have already started to lose significant amounts of work to these AIs, and the number will only increase as the technology is perfected. Next up, we have still models. Did it surprise you when the Fast and Furious movie was completed even after the sad passing of Paul Walker? This was made possible by the use of computer-generated imagery, or CGI. If you have seen it play out right before your eyes, then it should not surprise you when we state that human models are on the verge of being replaced by computer-generated models. Before you laugh at the idea, what if we told you that the Swedish fashion chain H&M has already started using this technology? H&M publicly admitted to using computer-generated models to showcase a range of summer collections on their website. H&M is not the only company to take advantage of this technology, nor will it be the last. Human models age, fall sick, and may not always be available when they are needed. The best and popular models also cost a fortune when compared to virtually generated models who do not even need expensive photo shoots. This has steered away many organizations towards the use of virtual models over real-life models. At best, human models may only sell their likeness and image to organizations that may use them as they please and pay them royalties. Referees are up next. Have you ever watched a football, or soccer if you're American, match only to have your team lose because of poor refereeing decisions or miscalculations? Well, you're not alone. Referees have made errors because they are human, and technology is on the verge of fixing that through robots and AI. FIFA will be trying out robot refs in the Premier League next season. The system will be using skeletal technology to track movement, which will make it more accurate in making decisions than the current VAR system being used to assist human referees worldwide. Tennis matches have also been using AI since 2006 in determining whether a ball is in or out. This makes the technology a second referee to the game. This situation is also present in sports like baseball, albeit not with the same prominence as tennis. Judges, just like referees, are expected to make judgments based on the clauses in the law with no personal emotions involved. The mere fact that emotions and sentiments have no place in this job makes it a perfect fit for a robot, doesn't it? AI authority Terrence Mowry believes machines will be capable of detecting dishonesty in individuals under trial with a 99.9% accuracy, which makes them a better fit than human judges. Ziofa works in Beijing's #1 intermediate people's court, offering legal guidance and assistance. She is capable of answering about 40,000 litigation questions and managing 30,000 lawful issues. Impressive, right? What if I told you Ziofa is a robot? China has more than 100 robots in its judicial system in its desire to seek smart justice. Some of the robots are specialized in specific areas of law, such as business law, among others. Should a robot, however, be capable of deciding the life and death of a human? Is this ethical? Is it even ethical for a human to decide if other humans live or not? Should this not be a power in the hands of someone greater than a human? Perhaps God himself? This will be a discussion for another video. Up next, we have office clerks and administrative assistants. The job of an office clerk, which is sometimes referred to as general secretary, administrator, or administrative assistant, remains one of the jobs that might be automated soon. The roles of these individuals typically involve compiling and sorting information or office transactions. They might sometimes answer telephones, take messages, and respond to requests. These are tasks that can now be easily handled by using simple apps on Android or iOS. When it comes to their roles in preparing documents among others, this can also easily be replicated by AI. Right next to drivers, individuals who work in this industry remain the most endangered among those on this list. More and more organizations are requiring fewer individuals in these roles due to current technological advancements. It is therefore no surprise that these jobs are expected to significantly decline or disappear in the next 10 years. Up next, we have school teachers. Education is going to see a dramatic change in the near future. The ways by which students learn and the content of their studies has changed dramatically over time. Education has always been veered towards efficiency as well as effectiveness. That is, the curricula is usually updated to only feature content that will be relevant in the real world. Most of the things learned in college today are not of any benefit to the average student in the real world. Simply put, they are not applicable. With the advancements made by technology, the average person does not need to know much and may usually end up using the basic things learned in school, such as adding, subtracting, and dividing. With the onset of e-learning, many students today do not necessarily have to go through the traditional learning method in tertiary. They are able to choose and study the things that they believe are the most important or useful to them in their lives or career. This can go a long way to affect tertiary education. This advancement could suggest that in the future, tertiary institutions or even high schools might not be necessary. Students might utilize e-learning platforms and study only things that they find relevant to their lives. This puts regular high school teachers and university lecturers at risk. The tendency to lose their traditional roles as educators to e-learning and digital technology is very high. The same cannot be said for elementary school education though, as pupils require guidance when it comes to their studies. They are not mature enough to learn on their own, nor do they fully understand how they should learn. This means that compared to teachers in higher education, elementary school teachers cannot be easily replaced nor have their jobs automated. If you're an elementary school teacher watching this, congrats! Next up, we have doctors. This might seem impossible, but trust us when we say that it's not. Unlike the other jobs mentioned in this list, doctors might be safer for a much longer time, but not for so long. Some experts in the field see AI and robots taking over the roles of doctors in 2035. It is believed that robots will be able to determine patient symptoms and challenges, as well as make more accurate decisions when compared to humans. Also, robots might work best in scenarios where the diseases are very communicable and infectious. For example, we lost many good doctors to the COVID-19 pandemic. If we had robots during this period, many of them could have been saved. The pandemic established the need for such innovations and accelerated the process. The major drawback of this is the lack of human touch. We can all agree that healthcare is more than just diagnosing and giving treatments. Doctors operate with a level of empathy that AI might not be capable of just yet. Individuals might prefer to hear about their terminal illness disease from a human than they would a robot. A human doctor may be able to tell how the treatment process is stressful and offer emotional support. These will not be available considering robots only. Next up, we have programmers. Programming has changed and evolved over the years, with programmers and codes programmers write making the process easier. Programmers have been involved in writing and developing artificial intelligence, which also has the power to write and develop its own set of codes. Seems like we're back to more sci-fi, right? However, AI tools that write simple codes are already in existence and being utilized. These AIs have, however, not gotten to the point where they can completely replace programmers, but they are headed towards the direction where they will be able to develop websites and apps based on the preferences consumers give, just like human programmers. Considering the rate at which technology is advancing, it will not be surprising if we achieve this in the next 10 years. Before AI fully develops and completes, they are heavily needed to code AI. And our final jobs on this list of high-risk ones are firefighters and policemen. This might probably bring to mind movies like Terminator, where the machines that were created to save and protect human lives end up trying to take over the world. Well, let's step right out of the fiction world into the non-fiction world, the real world. Dubai already has police patrolling malls and tourist attractions in an effort to cut down the rate of crime. Members of the public are able to report crimes through the robots and pay fines as well. In fact, Dubai intends to make 25% of its police force robots by 2030. Although they won't be replacing human workers, they will certainly affect human intake, as these jobs could have essentially gone to humans. AI is also making its way into forensics, which is a subject for another day. Given the fact that human lives are constantly at risk when it comes to police and firefighter jobs, robot assistance is greatly anticipated in the field. It, however, comes with the cost of eventually letting some of the human workforce go. The jobs mentioned have two things in common. First of all, they are repetitive in nature, and they are governed by clear rules and protocols. This makes it easy for an AI to be integrated into them. Ray Kurzweil, who is well known for his accurate predictions of the digital age, predicted the technological singularity, which he described as the time where machines overtake humans in intelligence. How close are we already to this? It turns out, not too far away from it. Change is not new to humans. Some years ago, we were hunters and gatherers. Then came agriculture, which rendered it obsolete. Close to 250 years ago, there was the Industrial Revolution, which rendered many occupations obsolete and laid many off. The Electrical Revolution from 120 years ago made machines more complex, which came with greater disadvantages to human workers. The rise of computers 60 years ago made it possible for electronics to perform more complex tasks, and the information age which followed it after 30 years brought the internet, which killed many jobs, but created new ones as well. When can we expect the next big thing or technological singularity? We are probably living in the early stages of it, but we estimate that by 2045, there will be a big revolution of AI, which will allow it to seamlessly take over human jobs and probably perform much better than humans, depending on the job. AI will not only start to function more like humans cognitively and make judgments similarly to humans, but go beyond that to actually outperform humans in these areas. We are moving towards an age where AI will effectively produce other AI and manage them as replacements for physical and mental labor. Think of it as AI managers managing other sub-AIs. So what happens to humans? Do we become obsolete and get replaced by robots and AI? Well, we don't think so. At least, we hope not. When it comes to creative works that most designers, singers, and composers create, machines simply can't match. It always feels like a lack of human touch. Human ingenuity may be our last line of defense. Our creativity and imagination may be the very things that set us apart from these machines. In the words of Albert Einstein, imagination is more important than knowledge, for knowledge is limited to all we know and understand, while imagination embraces the entire world and all there ever will be to know and understand.